This Use a Play is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
This is the 7 a.m. Barbados Today update for Tuesday, April the 15th, 2014. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Good morning. Companies in Barbados could be losing millions of dollars of their revenue every year due to occupational fraud without even knowing it. The warning from auditing and fraud examination teacher Jessica Hieronymus. Hieronymus, an accounting instructor at Fort Hayes State University, is cautioning business leaders to pay close attention to the operation and educate themselves on the topic. Speaking to Barbados Today on the sidelines of a workshop hosted by the Caribbean Center of Excellence for Youth Entrepreneurship, the expert says that too often small business operators place too much trust in the employees. Based on the 2012 Global Fraud Study by the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, organizations lose an estimated 5% of their revenues to fraud each year.
And when we apply that 5% figure to it, it is estimated that it's $227 million in losses occur just in Barbados due to fraud from that economy.
How significant is this to a small economy such as that?
I would say it's enormously significant. When you take that figure and apply it to the U.S. gross domestic product, it is larger than the entire national defense budget. Mm-hmm. And I imagine it is the same in Barbados.
And this is across the board, right? Not just small business operators.
No, this is across the board.
Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley says reparations remain a key agenda item for the government, while noting its importance ahead of Emancipation Day celebrations. Speaking at the press conference yesterday, Lashley says Barbadians must not be ashamed of reparations, as he acknowledged suggestions that the issue is not one for a government with a modern agenda. He maintains it's unfinished business that must be addressed. He also made it clear that it's not a matter of seeking money from former colonial powers, or rather it's about repairing something that was unjust.
Underpinning all of this really has got to be a recognition that we are talking about a particular event in history that we believe deprived the majority of the citizens, those who have been descendants of African slaves, of a lot of what is truly theirs. And we are saying that that has got to be recognized. I believe that the British government has, to some extent, acknowledged that this particular historical event was a tragedy. There has not been an apology for it, but there has been an acknowledgement. Within the context of United Nations, the reality of addressing this thing in a comprehensive way is acknowledged. And what we feel we have to do once and for all is to bring it to a logical conclusion.
In sports now, one of this region's pioneers in the sport of netball, Barbadian Kathy Harper Hall, says she's not pleased with the level on netball in the Caribbean. A recent recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award for her more than 5 decades of service to the sport, Harper Hall, who's president of the Caribbean Netball Association, didn't mince words when it came to her views on the status of netball locally and regionally. She's also dissatisfied with the amount of money netballers have to pay to use the netball stadium.
So you're talking about having to pay approximately $800 a week to play netball. Now tell me, how in heaven can the sport survive? You know, and how can the association then have funds to help to prepare their teams to go anywhere? If in order for the players to play, for you to see who you have to pay at least $800 a week to play.
Barbados has retained their WICB four-day first-class title after reinforced a draw between Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago at the Guyana National Stadium in Providence yesterday. After crashing the Leeward Islands by an innings and 49 runs at the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Ground on Sunday with a day and 2 sessions to spare, Barbados captained for the first time by the 21-year-old West Indies opening batsman Craig Brathwaite ended the 7-team championship on 82 points to lift the President's Trophy. Trinidad and Tobago, who went into the 7th and final series at the top of the table on 72 points, were the only other team with a chance of capturing the region's most prestigious title, but their hopes were dashed yesterday by rain, which delayed the start of play and allowed only 20 overs in the pre-lunch session, during which Guyana, set to 25 to win, moved to 64 for 3 off 31 overs from an overnight 17 for 1. Rain again drove the players off the field just 6 overs after lunch. Play resumed at 4:50 p.m. and Guyana reached 80 for 3 off 40 overs when the captains agreed to end the match at 5 p.m. Barbados have now stretched their record regional first-class titles to 22.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
In news coming out of Jamaica, we hear that blocking the International Mobile Equipment Identification, or IMEI, of a smartphone reported stolen once thought to be an effective measure to deter phone thieves. However, this has changed in recent years as criminals have found new ways to circumvent the security system in Jamaica. In many cases, disarming a phone's IMEI mechanism, which the police say is similar to the chassis number of a motor vehicle, is as easy as taking the phone to a street side technician, many of whom charge as little as 2,000 Jamaica dollars for their services. Both Digicel and Lime began blocking phones reported stolen in 2008 in response to alarming levels of phone theft, which at the time numbered 16,000 a month. Inspector Warren Williams of the Organized Crime Investigative Division explained that while his unit was aware that changing a mobile identification system was being done in some places around the world, he felt the practice was not widespread in Jamaica. Internationally now, an investigation by Democratic members of Congress into the marketing practices of electronic cigarette companies has found that major producers are targeting young people, giving away free samples at music and sporting events and running radio and television advertisements during youth-oriented programs. Now, the inquiry, led by Senator Richard Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, and Representative Henry Waxman, Democrat of California, was conducted as the Food and Drug Administration prepared a major package of tobacco control rules that would place e-cigarettes under federal regulation for the first time. The new rules have been slow to appear, and lawmakers said they hope their report, which came out on Monday, might help speed their release. Public health experts are deeply divided on the perils and benefits of e-cigarettes. Now, that's been the 7 a.m. update. Join us again at noon. But until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Stay tuned. The Business Minute is up next.
The Business Minute is brought to you by Signia Financial Group.
To my people out there working hard to expand your horizons, chasing a flawless dream. Keep your eyes on the prize and we don't look back. It's forward thinking, on to the new stuff. It's time to lay bricks on the foundation of your future.
Get set with Signia to be sure the world will be yours. Take you to exceptional, incredible new heights. And get set with Signia.
Signia, quality solutions for your financial needs.
This is the Barbados Today Business Minute for Tuesday, April 15th, 2014. I'm Vic Fernandez. The Caribbean Regional Stock Exchange was set up almost 2 years ago to offer investors a wider market, but regional stockbrokers are yet to sign up. This is a concern for Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Stock Exchange, Marlon Yard. He tells the Business Minute there is interest from Jamaica for both the Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago markets, while Barbadians are equally anxious about the Jamaican and Trinidad and Tobago markets.
I'm not sure what's happening from the Trinidad side into the Jamaican Barbados markets, but it's been signed up. So it's, the regulatory approval has been there and everything. So it's just for the brokers to sign up and trade. The facilities are there. Everything is in place for them to do it.
It's not all doom and gloom in the local private sector. Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Alex MacDonald, concedes it's a tough environment, but he's heartened that a number of new companies have been setting up shop, while others have been expanding their operations.
In those areas that we have seen people growing are areas that the opportunity has been well defined and clear, so that through whatever means, those companies have seen that there is a way through. What we are also seeing are older companies reinventing themselves through toughening times and finding new ways through. Those things we encourage.
There may be no new trends in Barbados when it comes to the non-banking financial services sector, but the Financial Services Commission, FSC, is not happy with current lending practices. The agency does not regulate lending, but Acting Chief Executive Officer Warwick Ward says the FSC has some questions. Though he opted not to give details, Ward tells the Business Minute the Commission will be working closely with other regulators to ensure transparency and due diligence. He also suggests some legislative changes may be necessary.
That's an area which we would probably be seeing in the future. The thing is, we constantly have to look at our legislation. One of the key things in which we are tasked with doing is to maintain the stability of the financial system. So if we recognize between ourselves and our sister regulators, such as the central bank, we recognize that there are certain loopholes within the legislation, that we would have to properly look to close those loopholes.
And now for today's financial tip. Start an emergency fund and be sure to put aside any amount of money in your budget towards this fund. Having money saved for emergency can keep you out of trouble financially. That's been the Barbados Today Business Minute. Join us again on Thursday. Until then, you can get more business and news by logging on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribing to our e-paper, and liking us on Facebook. I'm Vic Fernandez.
The Business Minute is brought to you by Signia Financial Group.
To my people out there working hard to expand your horizons, chasing a flawless dream. Keep your eyes on the prize and we don't look back. It's forward thinking, on to the new stuff. It's time to lay bricks on the foundation of your future.
Get set with Signia to be sure the world will be yours. Take you to exceptional, incredible new heights. And get set with Signia.
Signia, quality solutions for your financial needs.